wherever you're going, there's only one number you need. Phone a cab.
Well, back in, I believe it was 73 or 74, I got the opportunity to come down and try out for one of the younger teams, and I wasn't a player at that particular time. I didn't want to come down to the Oval, but my father told me either do that or I don't go to Ladley Hall Boys Club. I was always a follower of Glentoran. My favourite player was Walter Bruce, so I always admired him, and eventually got the opportunity after I went down to the Oval at age 15, making my debut for the first team at 16. I got the opportunity to play with Walter. So then it just went from there, and then come the Shankill Road guy. A Linfield man playing for Glentoran. So along came Billy.
Billy, how did it come about you came across that?
Well, mine's a bit of I was a late developer in football. As most people would know, my brothers were all good soccer players. God, I'm speaking like I'm married. All good football players, and I just was playing on the Shankill Road Summer League against Johnny Jamison, and my manager, or coach at that time, just said to me, "I want you to mark him." And we were playing like in a cinder pitch where nobody was going to slide tackle, but that's the kind of player I was at that time. I just done what I was told to do, and then next thing, Jamie introduced me to Glentoran, and really that's the way it come about. And I was a wee bit speculative at the time. I didn't think it was good enough to make that sort of standard. I really didn't. I thought there was somebody taking a mickey out of me or something. But I went anyway, and eventually I played. My first game for Glentoran was in the Glentoran reserves at Solitude, where we won 5-0. And believe it or not, Alec Robson was centre forward, and I scored a hat trick. And I scored a couple. I think I scored one. And the next match was on the first team away to Bangor, and that was it.
And then when did the two of you come across each other then?
That was it. That was the first match at Bangor, wasn't it? That Gold Cup game. We went 3-1, and we went on, and I think we beat Ballymena in the final in that game, didn't we? We beat them 5 at Windsor.
Got a better memory than me.
Yeah, I remember. And that was from then on. We weren't particularly close because Rob McCleary was my roommate in the trips. Me and Rob were sort of the same attitude, a bit crazy at that time. Enjoyed a bit of fun and raking the boys. And Victor was only a kid, to be quite honest with you, as was our John at that time, was still on the team. And we had a lot of young players. Roy Welsh. I was a bit older than these guys, but Victor had probably more experience than me. But it took me a while to really settle in, and in the end I ended up playing centre forward because Boyd McGregor called me and says, "I'm going to play centre forward." And I says, "I'll play." So I played there.
That's how it all started.
Yep.
Yeah, I know the only medal I never got, but Billy gave me one of his, and it was the Irish Cup. And I still got it back over in the States.
Yeah, well, I think sort of everything seemed to come together 76, 77.
Yeah.
For that league campaign.
Well, my last 3 years before we took off and before we went to the Roughnecks and then signed for Derby, or 76, 77, 78, that was I thought it was a phenomenal side, and we played, we were good, we didn't fear anybody. We loved going to Windsor and beating. I can remember going to Windsor and playing the Blues in the final and beating them 5-1. I can remember that as if it was yesterday.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, they were the good days. Just like to rub it down the blue man.
we had some.
So we had some lot of characters.
Some great characters. Rob McCleary.
Obviously, you were looking at the photos earlier. The guys there, just Dennis Matthews was just.
Dennis Matthews was a legend. There's no doubt about it. And
typical goalkeeper.
God rest him, but he's a typical goalkeeper. Loved to play centre forward in practices. Thought he was the best goal scorer ever met. And we gave him the nickname of Bunyan. His feet was the ugliest feet you've ever seen in your life. He had bunions coming out of him all over the place, but he was a character. And then you had Rob McCleary right back, Big Ronnie left back, who had to have he washed his own kit for some reason. Ironed his head by the look of it. And then we had Alec Robson centre back, Roy Welsh and Victor could either play midfield or at the back. Then with Tom McVeigh, Quentin McFall.
Yeah, Tommy's not even in this photo.
Yeah. And you Warren
What's
Feeney,
his missing?
who went to Linfield and had a great times in Linfield, but at that time Warren Feeney could score some goals for us.
Yeah.
He wasn't he had an
Jamie.
obviously Jamie, who was undoubtedly the best player and the most experienced player in that team. And I mean, when he was at his peak, he was a smashing player, no doubt about it. And a pleasure to watch and a pleasure to play with. But of course, me and Victor done all his running when we moved back in the midfield.
How did you find Victor playing in that time?
Well, just looking at it, I think I was about 17 in this photograph. And just looking at the players, and it's like amazing. You got Rob and Roy Walsh, Big Ollie, Billy, Jamie, Fino, Big Quentin, Ronnie McFall, Dennis, myself, Big Dickerson, Big Freddie Devine. Just looking at it, looking back, it's just they were the great days. And then you look behind these pictures, and you can see the bottom. You can see people in the bottom stands. You can see people in the top. I don't know what like the supporters like now felt, but I know back in those days they supported us. They got behind us, and you and I spoke the other day, and hopefully the fans start getting back behind the Glens.
Yeah, well,
There's a history of the Glentoran.
Yeah, it's very much East Belfast, and I think certainly the team at the moment it's getting the support back again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, we had the experience of taking Victor's team, who's over visiting. We took them up to watch Glentoran training, and they couldn't have done enough for us with Pete Bailey and Scott. And looked after the kids tremendously, and I'd like to thank them for that, from Victor myself.
Kids obviously enjoyed themselves.
We came over for a tournament in Holland, or not Holland, in London, and I got in contact. You got in contact with me. Got in contact with Billy, John, and then from that, and I want to thank you, fellow, for what you and Billy done over here. And I know I didn't get to play at the Oval until I was older, and for a little team to come over and play on a professional pitch, that's something else.
Yeah.
And I know they'll cherish it for the rest of their lives.
You were saying yourself that was it the hairs in your body as you came down that tunnel,
Well,
just brought everything back for you.
Well, when I went up into the boardroom, seeing the trophies and all that there, I honestly can't even remember if I was ever in the boardroom. I think Billy even mentioned that.
Very early I was in it.
But to go down there and go and sit in the dressing rooms, watch the kids where I was 35 years ago.
It was a great time to be a Glentoran player in terms of European football. You played against some of the great teams, Ajax, Juventus there.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll have on the table here in front some of the photographs from the Juventus games.
We got this picture right in front of us, and I honestly believe at that particular time there was like 8 or 9 starting Italian national team players.
World Cup winners.
And World Cup winners, and in fact there's Roberto Battiga. He came over and played in Toronto, and we actually played in the soccer bowl final against him. And it was unbelievable. Not only just they beat us 1-0 here, and it could have been a tie. We could have beat them, and the Oval that night was just rocking. Then we went over to Turin, and they beat us 5-0. Played was 5-0, but when you look at that, we were part-time players, and you're coming up against an international team like this. It was just tremendous, and I thought we did well, and we represented Glentoran real well in that particular night. But I remember it. I swapped shirts with Tardelli, and to this day it's still first shirt I ever swapped, and it's the only one in my closet. The rest of them are in storage.
Great memories, even the trip to Turin. I believe he's got a tour of Cinsano factory.
Yeah, I remember that. They had a training ground out by that, Hunter. We went out by that, and we done our first training session out there. And it was an experience. I mean, I think it was my first European game, really, that I was involved with, if I can remember. I mean, I wasn't, he'd probably played more European matches than me, until he came back again, obviously. But, I mean, when you walk out, when we were walked up, you came out of the ground in the Turin, you came up out of the ground, and the atmosphere was just, I mean, I'm sure like I was as nervous as could be, you know. But
I'll be honest with you, Phil, when I come out of that ground, I was growing up in East Belfast and all. I was a cocky kid, and the only thing that I heard and it scared me a little bit was the firecrackers.
Yeah.
But after that, once you get on that field, I didn't. You just went out and give your best, and obviously you had the shirt on your back and go out and play it. But you look back here and you see, look at the crowds here, and I know this was. This one was in. Was this in Turin?
Yeah, in Turin.
And you look at the pictures and you look at the players there and so on and so forth. I thought we did just absolutely
well. Being honest with you, Dennis Matthews is a night to remember with him.
Oh yeah.
He was absolutely first class. As Dino's off, and that's his nickname. He got it after that game.
He got
he swapped
Dino's shirts.
Yeah, Dino's shirt, and he wore it until it went too short for him. But he had a smashing game that night. We did it better. Good memories.
To play in such stadiums, you know.
Oh yeah. The stadium. Well, it was a shock for me. My system coming out there, you know, but it was fantastic. You never forget those nights.
I believe actually in speaking with Stephen O'Neill, Stephen actually has the match ball.
That's correct. Yeah.
He found it actually in the tunnel.
Yeah. Stephen and John were very close friends, and they come to Glens together, and Stephen to this day is a close friend of mine, and he still has that ball. Yeah. Well, I don't know what it'd be. I'm sure people would give money for it.
Oh, I think he's had plenty of offers for it, but he's not parting with it. Then obviously just moving on from there, obviously the Juventus games and winning the league with Glentoran obviously built your own reputation up.
Yeah.
Obviously cross-channel clubs showed an interest in you, and you got a call from Tommy Docherty from Derby.
Yeah. Well, at first time was we went on loan to Tulsa. You know, I mean, Noel Lemon came on a scouting mission to Northern Ireland, and he went around a few games, and I think he come to watch. Did he come to watch Peter Dornan originally?
No, it was Jamie. Jamison.
But that game, I was playing centre forward, and again, I don't think I was ever a centre forward when I played there. But I think I scored a hat trick against Cliftonville, and we went 4-1 or something, and he was watching. And he come to me after the match. I think he talked to John Cross, who was the trainer at the time, and was interested in taking me on a loan spell over there. And I was a bit spectacle about myself, you know, to America, for moving to America and taking on I had a wife, my wife, and 2 kids I had at that time. I went over first, obviously, and Bill Folks, who was an ex-Man United player, he was a manager at that time, and they needed a midfield player, and he come to me and he says, "What's this guy Moreland like? He plays midfield for you." And I said, "He's a smashing player." Obviously I wanted Victor over. Yeah. Because it was getting a bit lonely over there, and nobody could talk my language and stuff like that. So he came over with his lovely tan, his white skin, and red head. And
he still does know my name. It's Moreland.
I know, right, okay. I call it's called you Moreland.
No, they call me
Victor Moreland.
They call me Coach.
Yes. But anyway, Victor came over and he stayed with me and Margaret at that time in our apartment. And then you get the bug for it. You're treated like royalty, and over in Tulsa, you know, these guys never seen a professional soccer player in their life, and you get treated so well. Next thing, I ended up leading goal scorer in that season, and Vic had a great season. He moved back in the sweeper. And
totally different lifestyle as well.
Well, it's a total different
time footballers.
Total different lifestyle, but I think the reason that we ended up going to Derby County, there was a player called Dougie Collins. He was one of the assistant coaches in the youth team, reserve team at Derby, and he contacted Tommy Docherty when he went back over there.
There's quite a few Derby players.
Yeah, we had, well, David, Colin Bolton, they went over there in '79. We didn't go back to the States in '79. We stayed at Derby, but we got the call, and the Roughnecks had actually come back, and they were on tour. They were playing Glentoran because we played one half for Glentoran, one half for the Roughnecks, and
Glens beat them 5.
we ended up. And I'd actually played all year for the Roughnecks at midfield and hadn't scored a goal. I think I scored 2 that game.
Yeah.
So and then I can remember the next game after that we played Glenhaven, and I scored again. And
one each.
I was
because
that
was the last game.
I was yeah, and then the two of us end up in Derby together.
So obviously with Derby, you were working under Tommy Docherty.
Yeah, character.
Is that an experience?
Great guy, but we also got the opportunity to play with great players. You had your David Nash and Roy McFarlane, David Webb.
The only thing that I regret about Derby was, I mean, not one of them coaches noticed that I wasn't a centre forward. I mean, I went there, yes, as a centre forward, but I was chasing back and making tackles in our half. And I mean, the one that we played against Gordon McQueen, Man United, he went for the ball, I chased him all the way back to R18 and happy him. And he says, "What are you doing? You're centre forward, you're allowed to tackle like that." But these coaches never react. I was always midfielder. I mean, and I went back to Tulsa again. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at Derby. I mean, I didn't enjoy my years at Derby at all.
I was.
You feel it was more because of playing centre forward?
Yeah, well, I knew I wasn't. And they expected me to score goals, and I wasn't a goal scorer. I mean, and the coaches didn't. No.
You wouldn't have any regrets about the move other
No,
than that?
no. I played for my country, which I mean was always a. I never thought in a million years I'd play for Northern Ireland. I mean, starting in the places that I started, but I did it. I scored for my country, which a lot of people dream of. They know they say you fulfill your dreams, but yeah, fantastic.
Well,
talking of goals for country, Victor, you scored one.
Well,
was it England?
It was against
European
England.
Championship match?
It was against England at Windsor Park, and everybody knew where I come from. I come from the east, and playing against the Blues was always a big thing. But we got a penalty kick, and then you got Sammy McElroy and Nelson, Pat Rice, and Martin O'Neill, all those players on the team. And I think we may even had a team meeting. We get a penalty kick. Who's taking it? I was 20 years of age, and nobody stood up for it. And I can remember socks, mud up to your knees, and I just look up there and I see all the blue men. It was not just scoring against England. I wanted to score against the blue men. And I give them the sign after I scored it. But you know what? I was for our country, but it was also for the Glens. Well, the one thing I'll be honest with you, Philip, I do regret at times that when we got a new coach, when Tommy Dock was fired, and we got a new coach come into Derby, bullying it off to the Roughnecks, and he went first again, and I honestly wanted to stay. I wanted to stay in England because what I wanted to do was Billy and I both were regulars on the national team at the time, and '82 World Cup was coming up. And sometimes you look back, would I change it now? No. But back then, maybe it was a little bit immature stupidity on my behalf, and I chose to go back to the States and give up the opportunity of a place where I loved, people I loved, that I choose to go to the Roughnecks and not stay in England.
The funny thing about it, that never even entered my head about Northern Ireland. You know, I just wanted to get out of England. I just wasn't happy in England at that time. With the troubles going on and stuff like that, everywhere you went with your accent, you were sort of looked at. Maybe I was just being paranoid, but I felt like people was treating me different, and I just didn't want my kids growing up on it, really. And I was looking away out.
But obviously the first taste that you had of Tulsa
spoiled
your appetite
for it.
it
Totally spoiled me. And being treated the way I was over there and respected the way I was, I had to get back. So I came in and I played like 75,000 or something, give me in the contract, and I went.
And I obviously, you both ended up back at Tulsa. Fair to say, it was a very enjoyable time.
Oh yeah,
in your careers.
We had some fantastic games, and lucky enough we were fortunate to win the soccer bowl. But the unfortunate thing that I wasn't able to play, I got hurt in the quarter final and bad knee injury. And
but I believe you tried your best to play in the final.
Well, let me say this. Billy came down that morning, and I'm sitting at the table, and he doesn't seem to have a limp. And he sat down and he says, "I want to play 2 minutes." I says, "Where the hell is your cast?" He says, "Well, him and the goalkeeper was injured, Zelko Balagi, got a hacksaw from the ankle all the way up to the thigh. They sawed it off." I said, "Well," I was the captain of the team, and I says, "I'll go and talk to Terry Hennessy." And
he went mental.
And I looked at it, I says, "Tags," I said, "don't get upset with him." I says, "But Billy wants to play just 2 minutes." And when he came over and he said, Billy was Billy, that was it. There was
The
like,
shores of the Pacific Ocean. Soccer Bowl 1983 from Vancouver, British Columbia, that any teams have seen in the playoffs this year. The ball is back to the captain of the Roughnecks, Victor Moreland. You'll notice that his right thigh is taped. He was questionable for this game and came on to play. He has a thigh strain. Adam Krupa of Tulsa in the starting lineup. The strained groin obviously playing. The only Tulsa player definitely out, Billy Caskey, with torn knee ligaments. Toronto is clean on the injury sheet. They are perfectly healthy for this game.
Missed the flight because we celebrated off the semi-finals. We're flying out the next morning, so we were in charge of the ones taking them even into the banquet. But we went out there and there was like Billy was on the bench, and even when we get into the semi-finals, you're only allowed 3 subs, so we only carried a 14-man squad. We took 2 subs and we took Billy for morale. Him and his 2 sticks, walking sticks. But that's the kind of team we were. We were all together, and
Big Terry was with you.
Big Terry Moore.
Terry was there, yeah.
Terry Moore.
There's at one stage there was actually quite a few Irish guys.
Yeah,
David McCreary, Chris McGrath.
Yeah, we had a good setup, and again, that was the first coach that noticed that I was a midfield player, was Terry Hennessy.
Right.
And he brought me back in the midfield, and the rest, as I say, I went on to play midfield, as you know, for Glentoran for many years.
These are good pictures of the old Roughnecks back here. This is Billy when he was younger, when he had a perm. That's good. They haven't changed.
But again, the Roughnecks themselves, they weren't exactly light in the league, were they?
No, they called us a pub team. Basically, I mean that's what we were.
But that was just the spirit within the team.
We had a spirit, and everybody, people would die for it. Englishmen, there was an Iranian guy there was a Polish guy, and they were all mixing with us. But we had a group of guys called the A team. You know what I mean? And we knocked the group out and celebrated after games. As my reputation goes before itself, obviously with Glentoran fans, and I know what I was like. But when it come down to the games, we were ready for it. But after the games, and we won a game, we let people know we enjoyed winning, and that was what it was all about. And I done it at Glentoran, but I mean, nobody trained as hard as me, and played as hard.
I was like, I think when we went over to England, and people used to watch Billy and I because we'd push each other. Same way as when we played our practice games and scrimmage games, training, we always
That's your motto, Billy.
Coach always played us against each other. He hated to lose, I hated to lose, and we get into many a battle, many a fight. And
oh yeah.
2 of us together in a game.
Yeah.
Pre-season training, we're trying to outduel each other. We're just trying to push each other.
And then we end up rimming each other. That's what I'm saying. We go back and listen to them and snowing and stuff.
Well, I presume there is a few stories about rooming together.
Well, but
doors,
you can't.
Doors going missing.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, our doors went missing. We had one that was in Tulsa, and I can remember we had Zelko Balecki again. This goalkeeper had a mustache that was just absolutely unbelievable. And Billy and I got in his room one night, and this guy had one too many, and got the shaving foam and got the razor and just took half the mustache off. And he knew the next day who it was. He knew it was us because we pranked everybody. But when they tried to come after us, you had to come after the 2 of us, not just one. I went on we were together for
9 years. Oh, ever since.
Well, from Glentoran all the way through Derby. We made our debuts together for the national team. Then we went on to the Dallas Sidekicks.
Yeah, that was fun.
So it was the indoor season.
The indoor season.
Yeah. It wasn't affiliated to FIFA, this league, which I mean, I had to go there because my wife was expecting my youngest daughter, Trista, at the time, and she was too far gone to travel, so I had to sign a contract for.
You'd actually come home. And then went back. No, because I'd gone to Chicago. I went to Chicago staying.
No, I couldn't travel. I signed a contract. I took a U-Haul up. I filled the U-Haul from Tulsa, my home in Tulsa. And moved into an apartment or a townhouse up in Dallas. And played for Dallas for a season. And of course, he comes and joins me again from Chicago.
A bad panic.
Well, that was '84 when it was just the the exhibition games.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just to say the
You come back, and actually I was
Soccer
coming in
league
from
finished.
Chicago. Yeah, I was coming in from Chicago and playing in them, but I was playing strictly indoor with Chicago then. I got a coach called me in. He knew I wanted out.
Yeah.
He knew I wanted out of Chicago. Even my oldest boy was born there. And Gordon Jago, coach of sidekicks, says just sign Billy and North, a couple of English guys, and Chicago gave me permission 24 hours into Dallas, Texas, back into Chicago. And unfortunately I missed my flight, and coach said something the next morning. I said, okay. I said, I'm going. I need to get out of here. So I ended up with Billy again, and Billy stayed for 1 year. Unfortunately, could have stayed a little bit longer, but I think he got homesick.
September '84, you came back for the second time,
Yeah.
back to the Oval, and at the end of that season, you actually fulfilled a dream,
Yeah.
playing the Irish Cup final, get your first medal.
Yeah, that was the only the medal that I had to fill the. No, I had two actually. We won the County Honours as well actually. So I had them two to fill the set, and we done it that season. And God, it was fantastic. You know, we beat Linfield in the
That was
final.
the
Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney own goal.
Yeah, it's what they replay.
Yeah.
And that was a cockle on the peg in the first match, which was incredible.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we had.
Perfect way to pick it up in a Linfield game too.
Yeah, and then I actually went back after that, didn't I? Went back, that's
Yeah.
right. I went back to Tulsa and played in that. I thought that, I mean, at that time I wanted to make my home in Tulsa, and I thought my wife wanted to too, but things didn't work out, and it's probably done the right thing coming back for my lifestyle and stuff.
So
And probably for Glentoran's too, because
well, basically, August '86, you came back to sign a third time,
yeah, that's right.
and within that second year, we done the double.
That's correct, yeah.
Quite a team you played along with there.
That was
I
a
think
fantastic,
again,
yeah.
photograph is somewhere there. Orange there.
That was a hell of a team that we played in. I mean, with Jim, I came back and I mean, Linfield, actually Roy Coyle was on the phone to me and to Tulsa and saying like, we're the champions. We'd like to sign you and stuff like that. And I just told Roy, I mean, I got a sign for Glentoran because you know, really my heart lies with Glentoran and all the people that I admire and they admire me. And unfortunately, when I did come back, I got an injury and I tried to play injured. And I remember a comment that Malcolm Brody put in the Ulster saying Billy Caskey's a shadow of his former self, which actually gave me a kick, maybe what I needed. But I knew I couldn't play injured, so I had to take at least 3 weeks off to get this injury right. And,
Sort of hurt you at the time, but
oh, it really got to me. I know I was 32 at the time when I came back, and I mean I was getting on a bit, but I mean that was something I needed to give me that kick to push on and train harder and realise that the Irish League wasn't as easy as I thought it was. I mean, people with the reputation that I was coming back with, people were out to sort of way put a stamp on
if I
it.
mentioned one name, Roy McCready,
Roy,
fair to say.
Yeah, Roy McCready. I had
Great battles.
Yeah, something tremendous battles with Roy, and great respect for the big guy. And after every match, we bought each other a pint, and we kicked lumps at each other during the game. And it just became a sort of two characters. Really, people looked forward to that game. Me and him playing in the Irish Cup final of 1990. I was 37, and Roy was. He was pretty a few years younger than me, obviously, but I mean, I got man of the match in that game, and you hear the fans chanting your name and stuff like that. You just get your hairs in the back of your head, definitely go up in and then getting presented with a cheque for man of the match after and cashing it for the drink. That's a good thing. That was a good thing, just that celebration.
Well, as it turned out, I mean, obviously, after coming back that third time, you played must have been another 7-8 years.
Yeah, I did. I kept myself fit, and I always was, as Victor would tell you, I always was a good trainer, and I would have done extra training even in the close season. I mean, I'd run along the beats, and people used to say to me about going into the tide and stuff like that, but I did. I went in the tide in the winter every Sunday, and got aches and pains, whatever bruising I had.
Do you honestly feel that helped?
Well, maybe it was in my brain, but I felt that if it helped and I kept doing it, and it kept me playing a long time. And as you know, this day I still playing the legend games, so something's went right.
But obviously the time came, Billy, that you finally had to hang on the boots.
It was a sad day, knowing that I couldn't play, and I know I couldn't play at that standard anymore. And I'm sure it was the same with it, you know. It's hard to hang the boots up, but I can't hang them up. I went on to play for Dundallan for 3 seasons, was it? Until I was 44. And then I couldn't, because it was international, I couldn't play in the Steel Cup, I couldn't play in the Intermediate Cup. It's really was a real joke, like 44-year-old man. And then after that, I went on and played for Medibank till I was 53. Just playing with John and Sam, and I still enjoyed playing, scoring goals, getting kicked, kicking others. Still the same
Story of your life.
So you're only 53?
No. That's competitive football.
So while Billy was back home playing, Victor, what were you doing?
I went to, I played North 3 years, 4 years for Dallas. And then I went to Wichita, Kansas, played there for 4 years. And then the last 3 years I was playing all year round. I think, I'll be honest with you, that was probably the best 3 years of my time in America playing ball, because I was playing indoor soccer in the winter, called football, outdoor in the summer. And in fact, they brought the Irish League team over, and Roy Coyle, I believe, was the coach, and Billy came over, Big David Jeffries was over, a lot of good players, and I can remember going out with them. I know they were under strict curfews and this and that, and I was going out with Coyle, and I was going out with Malcolm Brodie, and the coach said to me, Thomas Strong, and I was actually the player coach with him, with Fort Lauderdale, and he said to me, he says, you're not going to be playing tomorrow night against the Irish League team. So I went out, have one or two few beers too many, and I come in, there's 2 lineups, one for the first half, one for the second, and I'm on both of them. I was in, what's happening here? So, but I went out, and at that time of my career, I ended up playing right back, and I loved it, because I was still fit, I was up, I was back, up and back, and so on and so forth. But we had a player played with us also, was Ozzy Ardiles, and the second, actually, when I started off with him before the Irish League team came over, him and I were centre midfield players together. And he was just a phenomenal player. He's probably the only guy at 100 degrees heat that I've never seen break a sweat, never move out of the circle, and he was brilliant. Yeah. But that was it. And then Tulsa got an indoor team, professional indoor team, and I got the call, and the owners were actually out of Wichita, Kansas. And so 91, 92, and I just had a few too many enemies playing indoor, and I said to my wife, I said, I'm not going to play anymore after this season. And 2 games left, I tore my Achilles tendon. Never had an injury, never had a bone break, never had a knee injury, never had anything. And I was just after a guy, maybe in indoors, and maybe got him a little bit and got myself a little bit better. But that basically ended my career. Under repair, my father passed away that year. I was under rehab, and I come home, and I went back and started playing men's league. Kept playing, and then I started my boys and girls club, and
so what? Obviously Tulsa Nationals.
Tulsa.
Along with zipping an operation, and what sort of setup have you?
Tulsa Nationals. I've got guys work for me that they run the academy for me, which boys and girls age 6 years of age up to 10. And then when they become under 11s, they go into the competitive side, and from there, from under 11s to under 18s, all the way up, boys and girls, I take them after they get to like juniors, seniors, and high school. I take them off to different parts of the United States and show them to other college coaches and help them get scholarships. So and I've been real successful off it. My oldest boys team, on his team alone, I think we had scholarships worth $1.4 million. But there was 5 of them went to one school, and it was Vanderbilt University, and at that time it was 44,000 a year. So it's in the long run, it helps out the other parents, helps out the parents of the team. But you seen, Phil, I brought a group of 13 kids over this past week, and we end up bringing 27 parents, and that just shows you the support that the parents have for the kids.
Yeah.
So
You were saying just that what we're talking about, the Billy and the sea at Moreland. I believe the boys, it was the first time that actually some of them had seen the ocean.
We took them down to Billy Walter. This is how our day went. We took them. We went practicing. Billy said, "Mum will take them practicing," so we took them over to Billy Walter Club. So John Caskey, he starts taking them for a warm up. Then I joined in with John, and Billy was kicking the ball around and stretching. He's a little bit older than us. He needs it more. But
More medals.
so then I took him over to the big field, did a little bit of shooting. Then we played a little scrimmage game. So after I hears, "Okay guys, let's go, we're going swimming." Guy takes them down into the water. My little guys, off with the socks, off with the shirt, off with the shorts, down to their underwear and straight in, not a problem, just choo, head first.
Yeah.
Then we went to the Oval and played the Glentoran Academy group.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then as we played there, give them an opportunity. Then we went up to Shaw's Field, and thanks for getting us up there. And Big Pete and Scott, they gave them a little section, so they had a day that was
Unforgettable.
well,
Live in their memory forever, I think.
yeah. But we played the Bally Walter team and the Kessel team from Bangor last night, and after they got their medals, the tide was way out, but they just kept running and running until I'm trying to whistle them back, and they were out there in the water again. They don't see the ocean. We're so far from.
We're right in the centre of the States.
We're right in the centre of the States. We're probably a 14-hour drive to the closest beach.
They obviously enjoyed their time.
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, we went to London, and the parents say they've already made compliments that they don't know what's the nicest, the people of Ireland or the countryside. But they had said to, I know they said to Billy, they said to me that they actually asked me, why did I leave this place to go to the United States? That's what they asked me. And to hear that about your home country, it's something else. But they would rather have come to Northern Ireland for 2 weeks instead of going to London for 9 days and coming here. And that's another compliment to those people. And they've already talked about coming back, and we've already talked about other little teams coming over and visiting us. And
I think there's a few friendships made there. And as Vic said, you know, these parents are really up for teams like a Castle, Ballywalter, and going back over to the States and doing a little tournament over there for a couple of weeks. And but I'll tell you, the kids need to be expected because the heat is over there is tremendous heat, you know, and that's every time.
So, in a nutshell, Victor, where's home?
well,
Tulsa's is home.
I'll be buried in Tulsa. But
Yeah.
this is
Your heart's here.
yeah.
Thank you.
May cut your heart out, yeah. Bring it here.
He's talking about that. He sent me over a Smithies one. I still wear it this day.
Oh
I
yeah.
honestly do.
Say,
Are you bigger than me?
I've always been bigger than you.
I'm talking about weight.
Quicker.
You're bigger.
Quicker.
I don't know about that.
Better looking.
It's my brain was quicker than yours.